Last time I went out prospecting, I had the original sucker tube that I built with me, and a guy stopped and talked to me. He was asking me about it, and he showed me one that he built, and I really liked his design. I only saw basically the handle and the end of it, and that's all I saw of it. So I had a pretty good idea of how he made it. And since I didn't get to go prospecting today, I decided to replicate it and show you how I did it. I also got a lot of positive feedback from the YouTube video I did. So this is kind of follow-up, and hopefully it's a little bit improved design. I know that my old design requires a little bit of maintenance to it. You might have to replace the foam around it, and you need to take it apart anytime you're not using it because it'll break the foam down, which is the problem that I ran into. Last time I carried it out, I didn't take it apart, and it lost some suction power. Other than that, it works really well, and it's pretty easy to maintain if you take care of it. But anyway, here's the new one that I made, and I'm going to try to tell you how I did it as best I can. I don't have exact measurements, but here we go. So first we have the 1.5 inch PVC pipe. I decided to use 1.5 inch because it's a little bit smaller, should be slightly lighter weight and less cumbersome. So 1.5 inch PVC pipe. Next I have a small coupler onto a threaded female 1.5 inch adapter. Okay, give you a close-up of that. Here it is. This is the threaded adapter right there. This is the coupler, and then here's the pipe. Just regular, I think it's Schedule 40 PVC pipe. Okay. Now, here is the working part of it. Right here. And here's how you make it. You take, what is this? It's a test plug. You take a test plug, which is not going to fit in your pipe. You disassemble it. It happens to be on a 5/16 inch bolt. So you disassemble it, then you take the part that's too wide to fit in the pipe and you match it up to the other end, which will fit in the pipe. And I took a sander and I sanded them down. I sanded this one down to where it was the same size as this one. Then I reassembled it, but when I reassembled it, instead of putting it on the bolt, I put it on 3 foot of 5/16 inch stock. Okay, so here we go. We've got a 5/16 inch hex nut, then we have a locking washer, another 5/16 inch hex nut, and then I have a rubber fitting, like a rubber washer that came with the test plug. Then I have the bottom piece of the test plug, the rubber piece, which is going to provide us with the suction. Then I have the other end of the test plug, and then I have the wing nut. The wing nut is also not going to fit in the pipe. I cut it down with a Dremel. And then I have a locking, I think it's called a nylon locking nut. So hex nut, a locking hex nut on the end. And this provides it with some adjustability here. It can be extremely loose, or you can tighten it up to get more suction out of it. And the reason I put this on the end is in case it does get loose while you're out prospecting, it won't fall off in the stream and you won't lose it. Okay. Now, the other end of the threaded stock, I have a clean out plug which fits into the female adapter. So this is a threaded clean out plug. I drilled a 5/16 inch hole in it. It will get a little bit wider as you use it. And then I have another 5/16 inch hex nut, a locking washer, another 5/16 inch hex nut. Then I have a handle. This is American Beach. I made it myself. I cut it at 4 inches long. I drilled a hole, 5/16 inch hole in the center of it. And then what I did with this piece of wood is I left some of the bark on it. I soaked it in linseed oil overnight, and then I wiped it off, and then I put a coat of gun wax on it, and I buffed it. So it has been used a little bit, but you know, didn't put a whole lot of effort into the handle, but it does give it some uniqueness, and it looks pretty cool too. And then I have another of the nylon locking hex nut on the end of it, so that way it's pretty smooth, it won't cut up your hand. So you assemble it like this. I think from here down to the end is around 33 inches. So you assemble it, make sure this is loose. You don't want it stopping inside your pipe. So make sure it's loose. Put it into the pipe. Tighten the clean out plug. And if it is kind of like, it could go a little bit further, but right now it's kind of dirty, so if you're in the stream you can wash it out pretty easily. Push it down all the way, and then what you're going to do is, this pipe could be a little bit shorter to give you better access to this, but as long as you can reach it from the end, it's alright. So then you just tighten it up like so, and you adjust the amount of suction that you want. So you adjust the amount of suction that you want on there like that. So that's the working part of this, and I created two fittings for it. One is, this is a coupler, the 1.5 inch coupler. Then I have a 1.5 inch bushing, so it's a 1.5 by 3/4 reducer bushing. Glue those in there, and then I have a piece of 3/4 inch pipe. I do find it a bit hard to clean out, so that one's kind of hard to get cleaned out. I'm not sure if I need to put something in the end to reduce the size of the material that comes in here, so I'm not sure about that. It does work, but it is a little slow to clean out. This right here is a 45-degree elbow, and I have about a 3-inch piece of pipe glued in here. So maybe it's a little less than 3 inches, but that's probably about what it is. It's glued on, and then you can just put it on like this. And if you're working a larger area, you can use this one, or if you find a tiny crevice you want to clean out, you can use this attachment. So that's basically the new sucker tube that I created. Also, when you're traveling, you can tighten it up really tight, and you don't have to worry about your handle slipping out. So that's that. And not sure if you saw it, but there's the end piece on it, and there's the other attachment that I was talking about. So not sure how much I got of that in the video, but there it is. And here it is compared to my first design. So slightly smaller, and I added this paracord so that it'll give me a way to carry it. So there they are. See this one? This one right here. So I can tighten that up a little bit when I'm traveling, and be a little less cumbersome than this large 2-inch. Okay, so I'm going to do a little test here. This is just some material that I got out of the creek. And then here's the old sucker tube. And I'll tell you this, just if you made it, make this piece of foam at least 8 inches long. And you can see I've got way more pieces of rope than I did in the first build. And the reason that is because I took the foam and I split it all the way open and wrapped it around it, instead of just cutting this end cap off and sliding a new piece together. So it's worth the time to cut this off and replace it, and then take the new piece of foam and do it just like I showed you in the first video. I tried to take a shortcut on the last time I did it, and you can see here that the cracks, they did not seal up very well. So do it like I showed you in the first video, and it is a good sucker tube, but you do have to maintain it. So be sure you take it out of the pipe when you're storing it, which is exactly what I did not do last time, and that's the reason that it has lost suction power. So here's a little test set up for it. I'm going to put this back together. And this is the old one. I'll show you the 2-inch first. And there's nothing wrong with it, especially if you build it right. So what I like to do is I like to put it down in the material, draw it, and then turn it up so that you don't lose a lot of the material. The better the suction, the less speed you will need to turn it over, because it'll hold the material in better. But since it's lost suction power, you gotta be pretty quick. So, alright, that's a pretty good bit of material. That's from the 2-inch, my old design. We're coming up with, right there below, there's the first riffle. Right, there's the first riffle. There's the second one. So we're coming up below the second riffle, just above the first one. And then I'll show you this. The reason I'm doing this is to compare the 1.5" versus the 2-inch. So that was a pretty good draw on that one. Then here's the 1.5 inch. And put it down in there. Pour some of the water off. You can see, got every bit as much material. Whoa! Every bit as much material, if not more, from the 1.5, just because it has better suction. So it is, even though it's smaller in size, it is very capable. And if you build it just like I show you here, of course there's 100 different ways you could do this, but if you do build it just like I'm showing you here, and you use your own wooden handle, then it shouldn't cost you more than, I think it cost me around $20 to $25. So that's not too bad. I did have all the tools that I needed, which are basically a drill bit, and a Dremel, the cutting tool, and the glue. So if you have those things, it won't cost you much at all. So hope that helps you build your own. And this has been a very valuable tool in my prospecting. So build you one, save you some money by building it yourself, and let me know how it works for you. Good luck. Hope that helps.